Hello and welcome to another episode of the
what?
The world famous.
Of the what? The world famous. Yes. Welcome to the world famous.
So
on that bombshell.
Yeah, just before we start, I wanna shout out to Denmark, right? And
why?
Because I looked at our recent statistics, and as
I
always,
was just about to talk about Denmark. You stole
Really?
the thunder.
really. So
I'm not joking. I actually am.
We are in the top 10 in Denmark in the hobbies category for podcasts, and so the Watch podcast. So that's amazing. Thank you so much for listening to us.
And if you are truly Danish and not just somebody else living in Denmark,
we
are going to talk about. It could be, but we are going to talk about the Danish Frogmen today. So, they say it, the Fromanskorpset or something like this. I don't know how to say it.
I heard that the Scandinavian countries, and the other Scandinavian countries, Sweden, Norway, and Finland, are making a bit of fun of Denmark because they find their language funny. And I find this look, I'm a German, so everybody makes jokes about the German language internationally. So I'm, pain-free in this regard because I'm always getting ridiculed anyways, or my language. But I didn't know that the Danish have that in the Scandinavian countries, that they find Danish funny, which is a bit surprising.
I don't know. To me, it's all the same.
You tell us, our Danish listeners. I think this is
I think
ridiculous.
the Danish is closer to German and Dutch than it is maybe to the others. Like it's a mishmash. I don't know. I did hear once that the difference in names between, I think it was Finland and Sweden and Norway, is you can tell by whether the last name, like Eriksson and Magnusson, whether it ends in S-O-N or S-E-N, you could tell where they're from.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't remember which one was which.
Yeah, so we can say that because our Danish friends are much closer to our hearts at the moment because we are in the charts. Where we are not in the charts is in Sweden and Denmark, Sweden, Finland, and Norway. So, dear Danish friends, thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. And we will talk about
your Frogmen.
Your Frogmen
in super special
in today's episode.
Yeah.
Not just that, we'll also talk about the Crown Prince, who was a member of the Frogmen.
Ooh, okay. Okay. So that's going to be interesting. Royalty
royalty.
Yeah.
So he's now, I believe, he's now been crowned the king as of, I don't know when it was.
Oh.
I don't know. I don't have the dates. It was recently. After his mother passed away, and he went to his coronation in a very special watch. So we'll talk about that. Yep.
Okay, as our watches.
So a watch that you wouldn't necessarily, there's no way you would wear to a coronation otherwise. Like it's super cool. Anyway, all right. So before we get into our topic for the day, I'm sure that you and I both have some interesting things to discuss. What are you wearing on your wrist?
Yeah, I am wearing a new acquisition.
We both got it independently, new watches on the same day. Because you bought yours, you just didn't pick it up yet. I went and picked mine up the same day, right?
Yeah, exactly.
On the same day, and surprisingly, they were both Grand Seikos.
They're both not Swiss. Yeah. Crazy. So, they're both Grand Seikos or Grand Seiko.
It's not French. Like, what the hell, Tim Marcel? Like, Grand Seiko.
No, I hear this also.
Grand Second.
Some German podcasters and YouTubers say Grand Seiko, or, but it's Grand Seiko.
If you're French, yes, Grand would be Grand. And it's that simple, right? But listen to the Seiko guys talking about it. They Grand Seiko, boulangerie. I don't know. No, they say Grand Seiko.
Okay, so my latest acquisition, again, a totally opportunistic pickup, was this fantastic Grand Seiko Heritage, I think it is, in the Heritage line. It's the GMT High Beat SBG.
GJ, SBGJ. All of these letters mean something.
SBGJ 211G. I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
S means it's a Seiko. B means it's something. M means it's a GMT. J means it's high beat. Mine is SBGM. So I don't know. There's G means it's GMT, whatever.
It has it has the high beat movement. It has a GMT hand with an independent hour hand, and it has these vertical striped.
They're
dial.
called Tokyo.
Yeah.
The dial. I thought you meant the movements, because the movement is also what they call Tokyo striped.
Yeah, no, it's the dial. The dial has vertical.
It's a teak dial.
Yeah, it's really cool, and it's white, and it's not off white. It's actually white. So
I thought it was silver.
No, it's silver white. I mean, it's a silver.
It's not
dial,
it's not champagne. Yeah,
no,
but it's
no,
silver.
It's really,
exactly.
It's really a whitish silver. Whatever.
So it is a very nice watch. You got it at a steal of a deal.
Yeah. That's why I bought it. It's as I said, it's titanium, and it's super high polished titanium, and ever bright or ever shine or whatever they call it at Seiko, saying it's so bright and white, unlike normal titanium. I don't know if it's the polishing or so. It is really cool. It's wearing very light, but it looks very steelish, so it's good.
Yes. Interesting.
And so what's yours?
I bought, as I told you guys, I was content with my collection, therefore I made a huge change. After we talked about after we talked about the phases of watch collecting, or whatever we want to call it, I realized that I have too much random crap. And I wanted to kind of really consolidate the collection. And I said, you know what? I don't need, I think I had like 15 watches or something. I was like, I don't need 15 watches. So especially, all they're doing is they're taking away from me enjoying the watches that I love the most.
Okay.
So I decided, I had one kind of caveat to this. I knew the hardest watch to sell would be the Doxa, because it's so freaking niche. No one knows what it is. And I think, that's the one I could have really gotten screwed on, and I wasn't willing to sell it for a huge, loss.
Okay.
So our good friend, Julian was here. We had two friends named Julian, but the last one that was here, Julian.
We have Julian and we have Julien.
Yes, exactly. So he was a huge Doxa collector.
Okay.
And he's just mad about Doxa. And he said if I sell the watch, he would buy it. So I reached out to him, and this was the kind of the deciding factor. If Julian bought the Doxa, I would sell everything else.
Okay.
If he didn't, then I would keep everything the way it is. And Julian immediately says, yep, he wired the money right away. And I'm like, well, I guess that means I sell everything. So I said, I'm going to keep 5 watches only. I'm going to buy a 5 watch box, because as we said, the limitation everyone seems to say is your watch box size determines how many watches you keep. And I had a big watch box.
As
so
we
I
had
said,
the discussion with Mahmoud. Right?
Yeah, exactly. So he's getting bigger watch boxes. I'm getting smaller.
Yeah, he bought an extra watch box now because
I saw Julian's watch box. I've never seen one that big. I think 21 slots in one box.
See there, you set yourself up for dramatic spending.
Yeah. That's nuts. But he says he doesn't have the OCD that makes him want to fill it. So that must be self-control.
Good. So the good thing is, if you have so much space, you can make patterns, in your watch box of how you arrange your watches. It's in a circle and an X or whatever. Yeah.
Anyway, point of story is I went and I found, because I originally wanted a certain watch box, but it only came in 5 watches. And I was like, I'm going to get more than 5 watches. So I bought the bigger watch box from Rapport that had the 8 slots. And then I went way beyond that too. But nonetheless, I said, screw it. I'm going to go buy the nicest watch box I can. So I bought this. It was a burr walnut.
Okay.
Fully lacquered. They say 9 layers of varnish on it. It's absolutely like mirror finishing in the wood. Absolutely beautiful. And 5 watches only. And it looks so good that you don't want to go outside of the watch box. So I've decided I was going to keep 4 plus 1 from my collection, I said. Or 4 plus, you'll see. So I said, I'm definitely keeping the Speedy, the Explorer, the JLC, and the Tudor Black Bay 54. I said, those 4 definitely staying, and I'm going to keep 1 Grand Seiko. And I was looking at my 2 Grand Seikos, the Hodinkee one, and then the the silver dial, and I said, you know what? I really want the one that I used to have. That's the one I miss the most, the cream dial SBGM 221. And I said, I need to find that one again. I'll sell everything else. I just need to find that. So I called to the Seiko store. They said, oh, sorry, we don't have any.
Mhm.
Oh, crap. And I've been under the impression that this watch is going to get discontinued.
Okay.
Seiko doesn't do price hikes. All they do is they will sell a watch at the same price it came out with. So this watch came out in 2016 and it's been on sale for now 9 years.
Okay.
And they haven't ever increased the price. It always stayed the same as when they released it. But of course, Grand Seiko around it has gone drastically up. This is one example of yours. Your watch is 10,000 dirhams more expensive than my watch in current retail price. So they ended up discontinuing the simple three-hander that this is based on. And then that one, they created a new one and the price went up, of course. And I have a sneaky suspicion the same thing is going to happen with this as well. So I wanted to make sure I got one quickly.
Isn't that a bit like more drastic actually is Panerai, right? They're always saying like, okay, you have a Panerai model. It's a limited edition, right? And I love when people advertise their Panerais as, oh, it's a limited edition to 1,000 pieces. Yeah, of course it is, because they produce 1,000 pieces, and then if it sells reasonably well, they just a year or two later, they have another version with a new reference number, which looks exactly the same and has the exact same movement, with a new reference number, which is also limited. But it's the same watch.
And then they'll say, no. But if you look at the 12 o'clock marker, we have made it 1 micrometer smaller.
The Lume pip is a bit different. And
Exactly.
this is what the watch I want, the Blue Notte, right? The submersible in blue with a blue bezel. There is two versions. It's a 1068 and there's the 2068. So it's the same watch. I mean, I couldn't find a difference in it when
it's the exact same thing. And exact same thing. So if you look at the new reference, we went from, there's been 4 references of the simple three-hander, the 37 millimeter. It started with the SBGW001, which was Japan only. Then they went to the SBGW003. No idea what changed. Then they went to the SBGW031, which... Once again, these 3 were kind of mostly inside Japan. And then the global release was the SBGW 231.
Yeah.
I think, by the way, the 001 and the 003, the difference was the one had a closed case back and then they got an open case back afterwards. Then the 231 remained the exact same as the 031, except for they split the Grand Seiko. Remember, in the old ones, it's Seiko, Grand Seiko.
Yes.
And now in 2016, they moved it all up. So the 231 stayed on sale for ever, since 2016 until this year, or last year, I should say. And then they came out with the SBGW 301.
Okay.
And you're more than welcome to guys look at it. The difference between the SBGW 231 and 301, you will not see any differences.
Okay.
They said they have fixed an issue in the sapphire glass manufacturing, because you would see some bubbles, essentially the sapphire, where it would mount to the case, they used a little bit of glue. And this glue would show up in these bubbles because the glass would act as a magnifier.
Okay.
And everybody complained about this. And this was in every single one nearly. So they said, oh, well, we fixed this. And that was the only real thing that they mentioned. So yeah, okay, great, but it's still the same watch.
I see.
It's not limited. It's not, it's no issue, but the price did go up significantly. And that's what I'm afraid of is going to happen again. So anyway, nonetheless, I found, luckily, on our group, one of our selling groups, a guy, he was selling the exact watch I wanted. He asked for 12K. I told him I'll give you 10. And then
I did the same
here
thing.
It is. Yeah, I'm wearing it right here. There you go.
Very nice with your tiny skinny bracelet that you've put on it again.
Yes, I've put the Forstner back on it. I love it.
14 millimeter bracelet. No,
and I am wearing my Hodinkee X Drake's shacket. Wool shacket.
So what is this? What is this? Gru? Gru is the guy from Despicable Me?
Gru. Yes,
yeah,
Gru.
that's the Gru.
The one with the big body and the little legs.
Yes,
and I put the Speedy back on it as well, so you'll love that too.
Yeah, I'm wearing mine with the normal bracelet, but I have to check my 19 millimeter strap reservoir, my little stock room full of watch straps, right? My walk-in closet with watch straps, and check because I have a few new 19 millimeters one that I bought from Hodinkee when they had their
Their fire sale.
super fire sale, and I picked up a couple of 19 and 21 millimeters, and now this one, my new Grand Seiko, has 19 millimeter lux, which is a bit, but I have some, so that's good. Converted
Mine
them
are
all to
19 millimeters as well.
to spring drive stuff. Yeah, and I just send you a small link so that you can see it, because we have another anniversary at Seiko, because Seiko has always anniversaries, either of a model line, of a specific model, or in this case, diving watches. And so they figured out, looking back, that this was the 60th anniversary or year, 60 years of diving with Prospects Edition that are now new. And this is, I think, a bit of a revolution. And I think we have to talk about it. It's coming to Seiko first. I have a feeling we will see this at Grand Seiko in a couple of decades. So pretty soon. It's a micro adjustment in the clasp.
Oh my goodness gracious.
And of
course, they still can't manage to make a no-date watch, but still.
But if you look at it, I mean, if you scroll down and you see the adjustable clasp, right? I mean, if you're going a bit further down, it is the one where there's just a piece of metal comes out of the clasp.
This is the Doxa. This is the same one Doxa does.
Yeah, and it doesn't look nice. It's a bit like this one that sometimes Omega did in the old times, right? When they had this sliding thing with the old Speedmaster Reduced, I think it was, when the thing would just slide in and out. I don't know if you're seeing the same image. I'm just I see it. It is not the prettiest look. I think it's okay because it's long. You have a lot of adjustment. I think it says here that you have 6 steps, each 2.5 millimeters. So that's 15 millimeters of adjustment, which is amazing. 1.5 centimeters. That's pretty cool. Also half an inch for
but
our American listeners.
I have this in my Tudor, right? Inside the clasp.
I know.
So do you, actually.
Yeah, I know. And this is where you think, but then of course the clasp is long, right? It looks a bit different. This is the clasp is still relatively short. But anyhow, it's at least you have it. It's I think something we should celebrate and thank Seiko that at least they have listened. Well, we can still argue if that's pretty or not. I don't know. But and then there's a new one. I mean, you know that I bought recently another Seiko, which was my blue SPB 451, I think, which is the Heritage Diver, 1965 Heritage Diver in a blue. And I love it. It's a great watch. I wore it quite a lot already. And now they have, with this super new 6 years of diving, they brought also a new one out there, which is with a wave dial, a white one with a taupe bezel, which actually looks pretty cool, and a wave dial on it. And these waves are looking like this, this Grand Seiko wave, this painting that is always repainted and repainted and repainted.
Yes.
What is that called? The big wave, I think it's called.
The big wave, exactly.
The big wave, and that's the waves look exactly like that in the dial, and it's actually pretty nice. So it's a white dial, has otherwise the same thing: 6-hour movement, 72 power reserve, the date at 4:30, and this taupe dial bezel color, which I think is pretty good. So, and they have a couple of other Marine Masters with Grand Seiko movements, the 8L, 6L movements and stuff, which are very expensive, 5,200 euros. Yeah, this is, I had a Marine Master before. And I must say, it's a very cool watch. The solid block of steel where it's made out of, right? And the movement is put in from the top, so you don't really have anything, not a constructed case. So it's really a absolute hefty, cool watch. But the problem is always when you have to sell it, and then, I mean, that shouldn't really be a concern, because this could be a watch that you can, last multiple lifetimes. But if you sell it, then it's tough to find a aficionado of
I
these
think that
watches.
goes for a lot of Seikos. Though.
Yeah, that's true. But it
you're
is a
going to
really,
lose
really
money
cool
on higher
watch.
end Seikos.
And that's why I think you should wear the shit out of these watches. And the new Marine Master Professional has a Grand Seiko movement in it with the 8L45 movement. Has, I don't know what the water resistance is, but it just looks, 600 meters. And it looks like it can do 600 meters. And it has the super case construction with extra, whatever, not only monoblock case, but also these things on the side and whatever.
So fun fact here. Apparently, the Neil deGrasse Tyson, the famous astrophysicist, was talking about this randomly.
He's a watch guy,
No. Is he?
Yes, he is. Oh, yes.
I had no idea.
He's a watch guy.
Well, he was talking about the depths of the oceans. And he said essentially, well, what is the deepest point of the ocean? Well, it's the Mariana Trench. And he said, how deep is it? He said it's about 2 kilometers deep, essentially, right? If I'm not mistaken.
10
kilometers deep?
Yeah.
Is it 10? Then it was 2 kilometers high. So then they said the tallest mountain is 2 kilometers above the Earth's surface. One was 2 kilometers. So essentially we have 2 kilometers high and is it 10 kilometers?
No,
Are you
I think
sure?
that the highest mountain is 8,800. Yeah.
Okay,
yes.
then I don't know. Once again, maybe it was 20 kilometers at the peak. He says, nonetheless, he was saying that if you add these two together, there was a number 2 somewhere in there. It doesn't matter. You add it together. And he said, you compare this difference from the gap of the lowest ocean to the peak of the tallest peak. And he said, that is the difference in the Earth's, kind of crust that we see, what we feel. And then he said, if you take that and compare it to the actual diameter of the Earth.
Yeah. He
said, it's absolutely nothing. He says, if you were if the Earth was a marble and you were to put your finger on that marble, you wouldn't be able to feel any of these differences because your ridges in your fingerprint would be drastically larger than this difference.
That's correct. Yeah. I heard the same thing about not just a marble, but even a billiard ball. If the Earth were this size, you wouldn't be able to feel it. And even like some bowling balls, you wouldn't probably be able to feel it really.
Yeah.
And they said here, this is, okay, the Mariana Trench is 36,000 feet, so 10,984 meters, so nearly 11. And it says that the depth of this is more than 2 kilometers deeper than the Mount Everest is tall. Yeah. So that's what you must have said.
Something along 2 kilometers.
Because Mount Everest is about 9, this is about 11, so the difference is
but nonetheless, 2. That's, here we are talking about these dive watches and how deep they go. And in the grand scheme of things, it's nothing. It doesn't do anything. Like, it's just crazy how we think that these, the mountains are extremely tall. But he said, all of us that have these school globes that we learn and we see the topography of it. He said, it's all bullshit.
Yeah, it's exaggerated
totally
if you have a
out
three-dimensional.
Of context, it's not even in the realm of possibility.
That is true. In the big scheme of things, of the size of the Earth and everything else, it's just tiny. It will feel smooth. In the size of a bowling ball, it will feel smooth like a bowling ball.
So I don't remember what ball he said, if it was
whatever it is,
marble or a basketball or something, but still, it gets the point
baseball,
home.
Yes, whatever it might be.
Anyway.
So we have another King Seiko. I just wanted to say that's the end of
the new King Seiko. I don't like it.
It's 41 millimeters. When I saw
it's all gold.
When I saw the picture first, I thought, oh, that looks like a 34 millimeter. It looks small because the bracelet looks so big, right?
It's not.
But now I learned it's 41 millimeters. That is just insane.
It's an ugly watch to begin with, so it doesn't matter the size.
I think it has this
the
kind of
gold
thing.
Dial is.
You see it immediately and think, ooh, that's ugly. And it has this weird V-shape thing on the second hand because it's a Vanak.
Then they also have, they came out with multiple colors, right?
The original
so the
Vanak is from the 70s, like me. And it came out on the same year as I was born, the Vanak. So you can call me from today onwards, Vanak. Ralph Vanak. I have no idea what Vanak is, but maybe I shouldn't say that. But anyhow, so it's the same birth year as me. It looks, on the first look, ugly, maybe like me. But then when on the second look, you fall in love, obviously. you always do, because then I become very handsome.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is actually a watch which I think you need to see in person, because I have a feeling that it might look actually much better in person than it does look on the pictures, because on the pictures, I'm with you, it does look a bit weird. And I do feel that Seiko needs to get their act together. Writing 3 days on the display is not okay.
Mm-hmm.
We don't need that. We don't need the power reserve on the display. Nobody does that anymore. Just get rid of it, right? I think
8 giorni.
but yeah, 8 days. Okay, 8 days is it's 8 days, but this is 3 days. So it's okay, maybe, yeah. But then write it in Italian or in Japanese. Write it in Japanese. That would be cool, right? Instead of
Shinkansen. That's the high-speed train for those of you.
bullet train that in Japan,
Yes.
though nobody will
All right.
remember what it is. So that's my Seiko update.
Enough Seikoing. Okay. We've Seikoed enough.
Now let's go to Denmark. And
let's go to the topic. So,
the royalty.
let's go to Denmark. Now, so apparently there has been a series of recent releases. This started a couple months ago when I saw a very interesting looking Tudor Black Bay 54. And I was like, cool. It's a Black Bay 54 on a Erica's original one of those elastic Marine National style straps, the green strap. I was like, that's a good color. I like the combo. And then I looked closer and I saw that, hey, it doesn't have any of those 4 lines of text. All it says on the bottom is 200 meters. Well, that's very strange. So I started doing some digging into it. Turns out the Commando Hubert, the same people that got the FXD essentially made, have now done a second watch with Tudor. And it is a Black Bay 54 that comes from a factory elastic parachute green strap. Specifically made for the Commando Hubert. And it only says 200 meters on the dial, just like their original Pelagos did, which is super, super cool. So this got me into this whole thing of these custom ordered unit watches.
They didn't put in 3 days?
No, it did not say 3 days.
Even though it does have 3 days?
It does have, but they just said 200 meters. Which I'm thinking, why? Why even bother with that? Just put nothing, leave it blank. It kind of is cool. But there's a lot of cool stuff you could put. But anyway, point of story is apparently there's been a resurgence of these types of watches, these types of quote unquote custom ordered unit watches that have been made for military groups, right? These are small, not entire militaries like they used to, right? When militaries would acquire, hundreds of thousands of, Seikos essentially, and then just give them out to people.
Yeah, but these are normal like issue watches, right? They are issued.
No, these are not. There's a difference.
No, but you're
the ones you're talking about are
unit
issued.
watches.
Yes.
Yeah.
Unit watches are bought by the people themselves. So
they have
small
to pay
units,
for them
let's
from
say,
their own salary. Yeah.
No, they get heavy discounts according to
apparently
that's
the thing. Yeah, but you
because
still
they are
have
military.
to pay for it. Yes.
Yeah, they still will pay, but they're made in small numbers.
Yes.
So very famously, there was one that was seen on the Secret Service, the U.S. Secret Service, that was at the Trump talk when Trump got shot in the ear, or that shot grazed his ear. There's a very famous picture with one of the Secret Service agents reaching out and like grabbing Trump. And we saw a watch on his wrist, and it was not a watch that's currently produced by Omega. So it was a current model Seamaster 300, but no date and an aluminum bezel. Which apparently then if you do some digging on that, turns out it is a Secret Service watch, which on the back of it will say, something U.S. Secret Service. But the same exact watch was also, something very similar, was also made for a lot of other groups. So the Secret Service watch, I don't know why they did this, by the way. They did, I'll show you a picture. There it is. It looks
Wait a second.
very similar to
Right. Yeah.
A regular Seamaster, but it has an aluminum bezel, or maybe it's ceramic, but it's matte ceramic, and with Fotina.
All right. Yeah.
I don't know why. And on the back it says worthy of trust and confidence. And it has the big star, like a sheriff-looking star on the back of it. Then the same watch was then issued or bought by the Navy SEALs as well. So the Navy SEAL had a very similar one that they made. And apparently the Danish Frogmen also had the same watch made. Theirs is slightly different. On the back, it has their little crest. But the funny thing was, the Danish crown prince apparently was a member of this group. And these watches, or when he was coronated, whatever it is.
No, coronation. Yeah, coronated. Yeah.
He's wearing his full, formal regalia, right?
Yes.
And he's wearing this watch on a NATO strap.
Yes.
Which
in this picture, you see it in this.
Super cool. I mean, how, like no one gets crowned and, dresses full formal and then has a NATO strap watch on, a sports watch on it. So it clearly shows that, he's very entangled with this group, right? He has a lot of patriotism towards this group, which I think is super cool because he could have worn any watch that he wanted. I guarantee you he could walk into any AD of any kind, go to Patek, go anywhere, and they would have made him whatever he wanted. And he still chose to wear this Omega, and that is what makes that super cool. So there's so many of these watches. We go back. I was looking at vintage Tudors, and you see them, and if it's a issued Marine Nationale watch inscribed with MN, 1975, then it's worth like 150,000 dirhams. If you find the same watch that is not issued, not engraved, it's like 50K.
Wow.
So the question is this engraving truly worth? I could literally take my...
That's worth it. Of course, the engraving is not worth much, but it's...
I take my watch and I go get MN, put on the back of it and say it's
what we saw in this Navy SEALs, for example, the watch or the one for the Secret Service or the one here from our Danish Frogmen, you see that it's more elaborate. This is real 3D relief. There's lots of detail in it. There's lots of sandblasting or even hammering and then polishing and stuff. It is actually, I must admit, it's much more elaborate from Omega with these case backs than what Marine Nationale does with the Pelagos. It is just the letters in really engraved, right?
So another fun engraving, by the way, on the Navy SEAL watches. On the back of them, it says "turning off birthday since 1962," which is extremely dark humor, I think.
Okay.
Get it, Ralph? No, you don't get it? How do I turn off your birthday?
I don't know.
I would kill you, and then I would turn off your birthday. This was for the sniper unit. And they had their motto was "turning off birthdays since 1962," and that's what's engraved on the back of their watch.
Yeah, that's a bit dark. Yeah, I thought it was in the article, so I was looking for it to see it, but no. Okay.
Here's their crest. It's in there. Of course, it's in the article.
Huh?
I don't know.
Okay, turning off.
You can't see it. There it is.
Okay. Yeah. Ah.
So apparently I just Googled it, and that is the slogan for the sniper division of the Navy SEAls. I think it's kind of funny. Kind of funny.
Well, it's dark. That's for sure.
It's dark humor, but I think such is a dark job, so you have to have a sense of humor. Nonetheless, there are so many of these cool watches that are now being customized, not just by Omega, not just by Tudor, but a whole bunch of other things. Bremont made a bunch of these. Breitling
they have
made a bunch of these. IWC.
Bremont was a big supplier for military units with their special watches, because you also would get a big discount if you bought them from Bremont, or your unit bought them from Bremont, and that they were official supplier of the armed forces, of all armed forces, all British armed forces. All branches of British, and it's pretty rare that you are, as a watch manufacturer, official supplier to all of them, not just one.
Yeah. But so the thing was, apparently Omega stopped doing this for a long, long time, and they just now relaunched this unit division.
Oh, I see.
So the special order unit division. So this is very recent, I think in the last couple of years, last 2-3 years, they've relaunched it. And now apparently if you are a member of a military unit, you are able to contact the Omega factory and tell them that I would like one of these unit watches with the engraving on the back of it of my specific unit. And I don't know what the minimum order number is, but you can get them at a good discount from what I understand. And then all of you and your unit get matching watches, which I think is super cool.
Yeah, whoever wants to join, right? You do not have to, right? I mean, that's usually some all do it. Sometimes they don't.
Yeah, but you have to order a certain number. They're not going to make just one of them for you. So you're going to have a minimum order count.
Yeah, I think mostly when you contact these kind of brands, if you want to make special things, I mean, for military it's different, but usually any kind of special project requires at least 30 to 50 pieces, right? When they
that's what I'm thinking here as well. Yeah.
With an engraving, who knows? Because if it's only the engraving that is special, then...
But it seems to me that they are doing a different watch, but it seems like all of the unit Omega Seamasters are the same ones. So they are kind of a brownish blackish dial with a brownish blackish bezel with a cream lume, a matte bezel and a matte dial. So apparently this is so that they are not reflecting as much light. They want to minimize as much light as possible to be reflected from the watch. So by having matte everything and then the not white lume, you're able to kind of minimize your, you being sighted in the wild, I guess. Because the last thing you want to do is be a sniper and you have a shiny watch on your wrist and it just pings your location to the nearest group of people. So, that makes a lot of sense. And also, by the way, the new release so Omega, as mentioned, they have 2 watches that they will allow you to customize for your division. One is the Seamaster 300 Professional. And then the other one is this new Flightmaster, or whatever they want to call it. The Speedmaster, Flightmaster, Professional, Flight Qualified thing. That is also there. If you're a pilot, you're able to customize that one. So... Yeah. So kind of cool both ways around. You get a neat custom watch, regardless of what branch of the military you're in.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, that's good. I like it if they have these kind of things. And sometimes, of course, they are getting available on the secondary market. Obviously, some people don't like their watches anymore. They might... somebody might have inherited the watch, doesn't find it worth keeping, and then sometimes they come in the secondary market, but it's rare. Usually, it's quite rare, but they might pop up every now and then.
Yeah. So it's the same thing with these custom watches that like the Formula One teams get, like the Tudor, the V Carb. I told you I talked to the V Carb guys at Formula One. The Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, and they were all wearing their blue dial, and this was before the blue dial had been launched publicly.
Yes.
So now you can go and buy one yourself, but at that time it was still only them that they got it. So I asked them, did they get the special one in Miami, the light blue one? And they said, no, only the drivers got those. So they only got the dark blue, or the Visa blue, or whatever you call it. Right. But the guys, and I asked them, so do you get to keep this? And he said, well, theoretically, we're supposed to give them back. And I said, theoretically, they can get lost. And then what's going to happen then? So,
yeah.
And I told him a quick story about how this is exactly how these military watches get out into the open. Is sorry, I lost my issued watch. And then lo and behold, I found it 20 years later.
This is how I heard from a lot of watch reviewers that actually have the same thing. They're the watch brands telling them you can keep the watch for comparison purposes, but it's not yours.
What do you mean comparison purposes?
Yeah, when you have a watch and you want to compare it to other watches, right? So you take comparison shots or whatever it might be, or just compare watches that you review to other watches, then it makes sense if you have them in order to actually,
okay, yeah.
From a wearing experience, from certain heights and whatever, not just the specs.
But you can wear it, you can do everything with it, but you just can't sell it.
Or some with other gear, it's a computer gear or microphones, whatever it might be. So you keep it so you can compare it to the new ones, right? Which makes a lot of sense if you are a reviewer professional.
Yeah.
But obviously then they don't really ask you 10 years later saying like, oh, by the way, you still have a watch from us. Send it back. So it is technically not actually something that tells you you're being paid, but you are being paid.
So and I told all the V-Carb guys to keep their watches and make sure they accidentally lose them when they ask for them back.
Yeah, or scratch them so bad that even if you give it
they're
back,
ceramic. They can't scratch them.
Yeah, true. Of course, yes.
Yeah, they're black ceramic. Yeah. So, but it's a super cool watch. And then the funny thing is, of course, now I went to the cycling race, and then the Tudor has a team there as well. Now they're all wearing the Pelagos FXD cycling edition, which is super cool. So, I mean, the Tudor is really killing it with the kind of handing out these watches to all kinds of different teams and things like this.
And it's weird because I feel like Tudor has found a very good balance of not being just a Black Bay company, right? Because we had everybody complained about it.
They're a Black Bay company and they're a Pelagos company. There's two things. Well,
they also have the Royals in the 1926.
Nobody remembers the Royals and nobody remembers the 1926 and nobody cares about the Ranger. However,
I find it very sad because the Ranger is a very nice watch.
I believe that the Ranger needs to come in at a new size. And because if you look at the Explorer, the Explorer is available in 40 and 36. Imagine if the Ranger comes in at 35 and 39. I think that would be sick. And I think I would definitely struggle not to buy one.
Yeah, I had the Ranger.
Because the Ranger is a great looking watch.
I had the Ranger. It felt similar. I mean, I must say it's really like a Datejust or an Oyster Perpetual.
It's a little bigger though.
Feels really like it's meant for your wrist. So that's really the cool thing about that. Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, so I guess you could consider, these as issued, or not issued, but they're issued, but they're also kind of unit watches, right? Having custom watches for sports teams and things like this is also very similar to what we were talking about before.
But if it's true, I mean, but we feel like that the Tudor is actually on, like finding a bit more of their groove and everything else and doing everything right. But then you look at the numbers of their sales numbers, and if they are true, then they had a big
decline
last year.
But
and that is
felt
so
this
surprising.
Big decline. We felt it. Things got stale. During COVID, they had all of this, these hyped pieces. The Black Bay 58 Blue was huge. And they are limiting themselves on so many things. They have so many perfect watches that they could, improve, so to speak. So for instance, as I said before, they've already made the Pelagos 39. Why is it only in one color? Why is it only in black? Make a blue one.
Yeah, it will happen eventually. Right?
Eventually, we've been saying this. How long has it been out? For 4 years
39,
now? 3 years? I think it's been 22 it came out. So it's been ages since it's been out. That's one. Number two, same thing goes for Black Bay 54, but that's only been out recently, right? That's only been out for 2 years now. But nonetheless, if you look at the Black Bay 58, how many colors did that come out in? Brown dial gold, brown dial or green dial bronze, the taupe dial silver, the black, the blue. You had like 5 choices. And here we are with the Black Bay 54 with 1 choice. Here we are with the Pelagos FXD with 2 choices. And what blows my mind is they had huge success with the Pelagos 39. Why wouldn't they do the same thing for the FXD? Come out with a 39 millimeter FXD. You already have the case. The case is there. Freaking make the lugs, close them up, boom, done. Bob's your uncle. You have a freaking...
How much is the FXD?
I have no clue. 16K? 17K?
No, not how much. I mean, how big is it? Sorry.
42. 42. Same size as the original Pelagos. So if they deemed the original Pelagos needed a smaller brother, why wouldn't the FXD need the same? Chirp, chirp. Chirp, chirp.
Yeah. I'm looking at the.
No, I'm saying Tudor has no answer to this. And I've said it, but here's the thing. Tudor tends to ruin everything slightly, right? They will make a near perfect watch and screw up somehow. For instance,
according to some experts.
The Pelagos 39, nearly perfect. What would we change? Give me a matte freaking dial and a matte freaking bezel, and it's a perfect watch. Make the lug width 20 instead of 21. Perfect watch. And if they were to come out with an FXD with a lug width of 21 millimeters, everybody would literally shoot themselves in the face because they couldn't use any of their straps.
Mm-hmm.
So I just don't know why they do this 21 millimeter lug width thing. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, that's so many of them, of these.
But yours comes on a fantastic bracelet, hence why I kind of leave that off.
Comes with a great bracelet. It comes with the rubber strap, right? It comes...
Yeah. So you don't need anything. But if you were to make an FXD, you cannot make it 21 millimeters. But I guarantee you if they did, they would. I don't know. That's just my hypothesis.
Yeah. Well, I'm really still very, very happy with him, with the Pelagus 39.
I thought you were going to sell it to me.
Yeah, maybe. But I'm still liking it very much.
I love it. I think it's a great watch, but could it be better? If it was all matte, would it be better? I think so.
I really like it because it is a bit flashier. It's not really that much. It's a bit of a sunburst, but it's black, right? So it's not too much. And it has the sunburst on the bezel, which is also not too much. It just, in general, it just looks very, very nice and not flashy at all. So yeah, it's just like I don't have too many divers.
But the titanium goes so well with it too.
Yeah,
the dark
it's
gray,
perfect collection. But my resistance of selling is just that it's like the one diver in my collection that I still have, a titanium one. It's really cool. So yeah, I really love it.
I'm selling my Hodinkee Oris if you would like to swap.
No.
Then you can get a diver back. Although it's only 100 meters water resistant, so I don't know if it's really considered a diver or not.
As long as it's only divers have to be 200 meters. I think that's
exactly. So that's what I'm saying. It's a dive style because the new one is 200 now, the Oris Diver. But then the old one, the Diver 65, was only 100
because I think
meters,
the ISO standard just demands at least 200 meters.
He said no, it's 100. I thought
it was
100 is. Let me look it up quickly. ISO Dive Watch Standard Depth.
Yeah, I think it's, and it has to be
100 meters. I was right. It was 100.
Okay, 100. But you have
ISO
to test it 25% above that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. If you want to have the ISO standard, you have to test it slightly below that, but nonetheless.
And if you put divers on the watch, right? I mean, if you print the word divers on the watch, on the dial, divers
with an apostrophe S,
you actually have to adhere to the ISO rating, and you have to have all of these different tests done and stuff. So that means if you put divers on the dial, then this watch is really, really not just swimming; it's a proper diving watch.
But
you can go
as
down
Oris has shown, you can put diver and no issue.
Yes,
because the new one says diver on the dial, and it's not ISO certified.
I don't know if that's both writings in the ISO, right? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know, but we discussed this watch, and it's 100% not ISO certified.
Oh, okay.
Just by looking at it, you know it's not ISO. So it doesn't have the lume around the dial at all 5 minutes increments.
Okay. Yeah, then it's not.
So it's missing it because of, I believe it has a Oris Diver 200M. I don't know what it's called. Oris Diver. There it is.
Right.
Diver Date, it's called. And at the 6 o'clock position, it is missing its lume pip. So if that's the case, then it's not going to be a diver certified, because according to ISO, you have to have every 5 minute increments. However, once again, there's a lot of watches that don't have this, but claim to be. I don't know if the standards changed, because if you look at the old, what's it called? The Seiko SKXs, those were all certified. However, if memory serves, those also were missing lume. They were. At the
because I think the ISO standard was updated eventually. So that's why even the SPB, the older SPB 149, 147, 145, and so on, they had the lume pip missing at the 3 o'clock position where the date was.
Yeah.
And that's why the Submariner cannot be certified, by the way. Because
exactly,
there's a Cyclops there. So that's where they actually moved the date for the new version. They moved it to 4:30 so that it doesn't interfere with the lume. Mm-hmm. And they had transitionary model where they had actually put a small Lume pip next to the
they
date.
have the half or tiny Lume pip. Yeah.
Just
to get away with it.
Yeah, just to make it certify it properly.
Exactly. But anyway, once again, we are so far away from our original topic, it's not even funny. So,
what was the original topic?
Where the unit watches.
So, yeah, well, they are divers, right? Most of these units, unless they're pilots.
So we're not that far off topic.
Or snipers, but
exactly. I still kind of like that quote. Like, call me morbid, but turning off birthdays since 1962.
That is a very, very tongue-in-cheek one.
It is. Anywho, anything else we want to talk about in this realm?
I think it's good. I mean, we both have, supported the Japanese industry and economy.
Yes. Well, technically, I haven't because mine came from a guy who...
Yeah, sure. Mine is also pre-owned, so I don't know if it's...
Neither of us have supported the Japanese economy.
But mine isn't only 1 year old, so that means it's still somewhat, yeah. Not directly though, but somebody bought it. I bought it from this person.
3.5 years old. So, but luckily I got the 5-year warranty on mine. So,
yeah, that's
anything
nice
goes wrong. Well, okay. Here's a fun question. I've been wearing mine for 4 days. I've done the math on how many seconds I'm gaining time. By the way, it's gaining time. How many seconds per day it's gaining? It's 7, roughly 7.8.
So there's a couple of really, really cool tools you can use for that. Not only just to look at the watch and then look at the at your atomic clock on your phone, right? But there's also a software that makes timestamps on pictures, right? So you can put the timestamp, and sometimes even with the hundredths of a second, if you want to, on your picture. So you take a picture of your watch face, and it will be imprinted with the time of your iPhone, which is then synced with a nuclear atomic clock. So you know exactly, and then you can just take all the time you want and read the difference. Right?
Well, that's what I'm doing right now. Yeah. So the last 4 days I haven't wound it, have just been wearing it. And currently right now we are looking at a time of, let me see here. We are 12:54:40. And I'm at 12:55:20. So I'm about 40 seconds off. So it's about 10 seconds a day gaining. Of course, the first day it wasn't actually fully wound. So Grand Seiko does say they have, it depends on how much winding is left. How much winding is in the watch will affect the running. But I think, if I'm not mistaken, their tolerance, so Grand Seiko mechanical tolerance is not that. They say -1 to +8 seconds a day is what their mechanical watches do, which I am right in at 7.8, if my math is correct.
Yeah, mine said something of -3 +5. I think they're registered to that, but
because the
normal,
high beat I think is a little bit better.
Yeah, but under normal wearing, blah 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 conditions, it is I think 0 to 8 or something. I don't know, something like that. They have this in the manual, which I have, of course, now put away.
You read it.
I read the manual because you should always read the manual.
Let me see if I can find it on a PDF. Mechanical.
So they said this about my...
Yes, I will check that out as well to see what it says.
But yeah, so I took a picture. Now I can look at my picture and see what is the actual timestamp on it. So it's 1 second past, and my watch is 3 seconds past the 55. So yeah, I can now see exactly that this is my watch is 4 seconds... 2 seconds fast. I mean, I love that they're fast. I do not like slow watches. I really, really don't like slow watches. That really is I hate it. If it's 10 seconds fast, I'm okay. But if it's 3 seconds slow, I hate it. Right? You know what I mean? I'd rather live with a fast going watch, being early than to be late.
Than being late.
So yeah, I'm happy with that. 2 seconds in more than 24 hours, it's perfect.
You are right. I am here with the mechanical manual. It says normal usage accuracy should be from -1 to +10 seconds a day, -1 to +8 seconds for caliber 9S86, which is
that's mine. Yeah.
-5 to +10 for 9S27. So otherwise, so you're +8, I'm +10.
Yeah, maximum duration. But again, this is the weird thing. They're testing it to a standard of -3 to +5 in the 5 position or 6 position.
The cost of adjusting the watch is free of charge.
See?
In case you want to adjust it.
If it's outside these parameters, right? I guess.
The average daily loss gain rates for 1 week to 10 days is +11 seconds.
Per day.
Yeah.
If you accumulate it over. That's.
If you accumulate it, exactly.
But that's a bit weird. So if you have a maximum of 10 seconds and then you say like, but within 7 days you have a daily variance
11, because I'm assuming
11.
they're taking into consideration the fact that the hairspring will lose its wand.
It's daily wear, right? So
it doesn't say daily wear. It just says over 10 days. They don't say you have to wear it every day, especially if it's a 3-day power reserve.
But it's not 11 seconds in total from day 1 to day 10.
No. It says
daily.
Average.
But that is so weird that their average is higher than what is daily possible.
Average daily loss gain rates for 1 week.
But if you say
to
that
10 days.
Weird.
11 plus 11.
I think they're leaving themselves these loopholes. They are, of course, way more precise and accurate than they claim. It's the same with the Seiko SK, the Seiko 5 line and stuff. When officially it's like -15 to +45 or something, which is ridiculous. It's like a minute a day,
Yeah.
So variation. And it's not. It's usually much more precise. But yeah, I think they just. Don't know why they do this at Seiko, but they just leave themselves a lot of wiggle room.
There's no chronometer, there's nothing, right? So that's what's funny about it. But anyway,
they tested for 17 days, or 16 or 17 days. The Grand Seikos, every watch is tested.
How much is the JLC? 1,000 hours, right?
Yeah, it's a 1,000. Yes, 1,000-hour test.
Not bad.
No.
All right. On that bombshell, I think it's time for us to end.
Okay.
We hope you enjoyed this random show of some military unit watches and random nonsense.
Frogmen's Korpset.
Yes, exactly.
Frogmen Korpset.
Frogmen Korpset, something like this? Yes.
Frogmen's. Yeah.
If you're from Denmark, let us know how to say it.
Thank you very much. And all the best.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.